We were part of the 6th Naval Beach Battalion, which was assigned to work with the 37th Engineer Special Brigade, which included many outfits, such as this, I believe the 16th Infantry is one. And we were scheduled to land on the beach and in the assault waves to establish everything on the beach, secure the beach so that things supplies and munitions could all be sent in afterwards. The communications people all were shipped over to Europe a little bit ahead of the main body of the outfit. We left, I believe it was either the evening of the 23rd or 24th of December. We boarded the Queen Mary and we sailed to Roseneath, Scotland, where we stayed for a while. Meanwhile, the rest of the outfit was getting ready to follow. They didn't come to Scotland, but they did send us by Army trucks to communications people. We went down to Swansea, Wales, where we went on many maneuvers. We were at Slapton Sands when they had that one. It didn't actually affect me because it wasn't one of my ships that got hit by the E-boats. I was there, I might have been on the beach at that time. You know, when you're there, you focus on what you're doing. You can't focus on somebody else's doing. They used, you know, ammunition on maneuvers, some of them, and so what was real and what's not real, you really don't know because they sound the same. Right. And then, of course, after we did all of the maneuvers, we went to what they call the marshalling area, about approximately a month before the invasion, where you studied all kinds of aerial photographs of the beaches that you were going to be on, and any pertinent information to that beach that I guess our intelligence people had picked up, so that you would be slightly familiar with what was going on, what to look for, what should happen. Not that it does happen that way, but what's supposed to happen. Well, not everything always goes the way it is. And I remember I got up early that morning. I woke up, I guess it was about 5 o'clock. And I went up topside and standing there with a couple of the radio fellas, and they were looking over the side. We hadn't even started to go in yet. We were in the assault wave. We were right there from the same time the Rangers went in and everything else. And to say our job was to set up communications, bring things in. Other people's jobs were to clear the beaches off any obstacles. We had bulldozer people that just moved these obstacles or disabled vehicles out of the way so that you could get things in. And we came in, and I can remember looking over and watching battleships flash their big guns and seeing puffs of smoke, you know, hit the beach, and it was quiet. You just didn't hear, it wasn't loud. And I can even remember remarking, yeah, it looks pretty quiet. And then as we got closer, it got a little noisier. Then when we got pretty close, we started to head for the shore. And then as we started to go in, we got in so far and we got stuck on a sandbar. And when we got stuck on the sandbar, we also hit 2 mines, which put 2 holes in the bottom of the ship. It hit the 2 mines, and then they dropped the ramps on both sides. My friend Bob Jaguar, he went off one side. I would go off the other side. His ramp was blown off by 88s right after he got on, and mine, fortunately, didn't. And on the top side there, they had, you know, cases of food. Well, it must have hit a case of food in back of me, and it's exploded the food, and I could feel the thing running down the back of my neck, and I had put my hand up to my neck, and I looked at it, and I said to the guy next to me, I said, I know I'm scared now. I said, because my blood is white. And they busted out laughing. That's cream of asparagus soup. So there's a little bit of humor in with some of the stuff. But and then I landed there, and then I went. Just the two of us were together. I had half a radio, and the other fellow had the other half. You wanted to just get it as fast as you could. You wanted to get on the beach and get where you could get down below, behind the dune lines there. And after that, you just basically did what you were trained to do. As far as being scared, you were scared. Anybody that says they're not scared has got no brains. The 85, they tried to bring it back in, and they got about halfway back, and they decided they're not going to make the beach because of the holes in the bottom. So they transferred all those people that were still on there into smaller boats and had them go in by small boats. And the 85, which is still on the bottom, but where they made that mulberry breakwater, it's still down there someplace. And we laid there on the beach there for a while trying to figure out, because you're never going to land exactly where you're supposed to be. It doesn't work that way. And they finally decided, well, we'll go this way. And we crawled our way up the beach. And we finally ran into Joe Vaghi's platoon up there. And I crawled over by the radio gang there and asked them if they'd seen any of the C9 people at this point, where they were. Which they had. They said they hadn't. So I backed off there since they were busy, and crawled back down, and I couldn't have been maybe near that wall over there away when the 88 zeroed in on there, where they had set up the radio, and quite a few of them were hurt and killed at that time. But I was just lucky I just left. Couldn't have been more than 5 seconds. And as I lay on the beach there, from the explosions there was a dune line, and on the dune line was a bunch of boxes of hand grenades, of which caught fire. And I was laying there, I was awake, but I wasn't awake. If you can be awake and see something and your body tells you, get up and get rid of that stuff, I couldn't do it. My body wouldn't move. I was, I don't know, traumatized, shell-shocked, whatever, for a while. And it wasn't until 50 years later I found out, when Joe Vaghi had written a book, and he mentioned that particular incident, and well, he got rid of those hand grenades before they exploded. Had they exploded, I wouldn't be here. Wow. So yeah, in essence, he saved my life, and I never knew it for 50 years. Wow. And we stayed there, I think, 26 days on the beach. Some things that ended up being funny that are not funny, weren't funny at the time, was one night the Germans must have dropped smoke bombs. Well, by this time things had been pretty quiet. It was quiet on the beach. I mean, things had moved inland already, and somebody hollered gas. Well, I don't think anybody had a gas mask anymore. That was one of the first things we got rid of because we had enough to carry. And we was running down the beach trying to scrounge up gas masks, and it turned out just to be a smoke bomb. You could laugh at it after, but you didn't laugh at the moment. There were just a lot of little things. We just basically did our job to bring in all the supplies in so they could move them into the fronts. And then they shipped us back to England back to Salcombe, Devon. We stayed there for a couple of weeks, I guess. And I guess it was right after the 4th of July, we packed up, and what was left of the entire group, that wasn't, that some had died, a lot were in hospitals, and some were still left back on the beaches that came in after we left. We boarded the USS Monticello. Well, I came back to New York first, and they gave us all 20 days delayed orders to get out to Oceanside, California. So we all went our own ways home, and then a group of us, we decided to meet in Chicago and take the train from Chicago to LA together.